Whether you're a Class 5 rafter or just looking for a couple of laughs, these two have you covered. Welcome to Aaron and Zach's Better Than Mediocre Rafting Show.
Well, happy Friday. It's 2 o'clock, and it's time for Aaron and Zach's Mediocre Rafting Show, starring Cody. Welcome back, Cody.
By popular demand. YouTube called me and said it was the most successful Friday show ever, so I'm back.
Yeah, I tried to get rid of you, but then YouTube forced you on us.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here. Aaron might show up. We'll see. He's traveling around right now, and it's also nice to just have like a nice civilized discussion instead of just blatant disagreement.
Well, honestly, I think it's going to go down. Like your viewership's going to go down because we agree on too many things. So that's why like Aaron's good is like, I think that's why we get along so well is we agree on a lot of things, but
well, if Aaron shows up, we can gang up on him. This is a show we do every Friday. We're trying to do every Friday. This is education, not entertainment. If people want education, Cody, where should we send them?
Honestly, I was thinking about this after last week, and there's a lot of guide schools going on. And I was a person that went through guide school to get into like serious whitewater. And so there's a lot of good guide schools out there, and I think they're worth your time. You'll spend 5-7 days super immersive on a lot of cool whitewater. And so if you want to get really serious and get really good at paddling, that's where you should go.
So, Aaron does the Lake Tahoe Community College Guide School, that's a good option. It's done with. We haven't done guide schools for like 15 years, and I just decided to bring it back.
Oh, really? So
I just added this last week. We're doing a guide school next May.
Nice.
And we're bringing my friend Mark in from Iceland. He lives in Finland, but he guides in Iceland. And we're going to do it at a very high standard. So I'm pretty jazzed to do a super high level guide school again, which again, we haven't done for like 15 years. I kind of stopped doing them.
I went to guide school to get a job as a guide. But there were a lot of people that were private boaters that went to these guide schools to get better. And so I think like they're for everyone.
Yeah, I disagree. Well, so let me go back. So I have lots of thoughts on this. We're finally disagreeing, Cody. This is great. We also disagree about throwbags a little bit too, which we're going to bring that up again because I can't help myself. But so when we did guide schools like 15, 20 years ago, it was half, 18-year-old kids looking for a job and half people in the 40s, 50s, and 60s looking for a cheaper trip and some training. And it wasn't a good mix. It was a really weird grouping of people because they just had way different life histories, way different goals. And I wasn't stoked on those classes at the end. And what happens, the part of the reason we do that is because let's say you have to hire 3 guides. Well, to make this even like sort of financially work out and to make it interesting, you can't run a guide school for 3 people. You really need like 8 or 10 people to make the guide school good, but nobody's hiring 8 or 10 people. And so let's say you have 10 people in the school and you can hire 5. You can tell the 5 people like, hey, you're not very good. You're not going to make it. Go do something else. Right. So, Aaron's going to join us. Aaron, I'll let you add yourself when you're ready. You look like you're not ready. We're talking about guide school, Aaron. So, and also like with guide schools, get 5 or 6 people signing up. They're like, hey, let's push hard to get 5 more people. Let's get private boaters in the class and make it the best class we can get. But I didn't feel like it was the best class we could offer because of the mix of private and like private boaters that are a little older and kind of gung-ho 18-year-olds. Does that make sense?
It does, but then like I would say the people, because of that mix of people that you're getting is you might have the 18-year-olds that are new and the 30, 40, 50-year-old that are private boaters, and they're going to be close on the same skill level because the 18-year-old and 20-year-olds are going to be a lot younger. And so they do a good job of just being able to manage and have that physical ability. And then the 30, 40, 50s have some experience. And so I think like the group actually works really well together at getting more knowledge and getting better on the water.
I'm not. Aaron's probably going to agree with you on this too. It's going to be
Cody, you're right. Well, sort of, you're half right, except for the part about the 20-year-olds being better at the physical stuff. There's so many out of shape 20 to 30-year-olds. It's pathetic these days. So I don't know if I can agree with that part, but yeah, most of my guide schools have been a mix of people who are older, interested in private boating, and private boaters looking for experience, and then there's the boaters that are like people who wanted to be guides, and I like the mix. I think it's usually good. Yeah,
I hated the mix because the people that are older didn't want to like swim rapids, they didn't want to throw bags, and the kids that were younger were just sort of partying and being weird. And I just not being weird, but it was a weird social mix. And like to get people to do things, it was a weird on river mix for me. I struggled with it. And that's why we created our class 3 rowing schools. Like they actually started off as we had guide schools. And then we said, okay, let's do professional guide schools and recreational guide schools. And we said, hey, if you want to be a guide, go to the professional guide school. If you want to be a private boater, go to the recreational guide school. And the recreational guide schools turned into the class 3 rowing schools. And so we gave up on the professional guide schools for 15 years. I just didn't want to do it. So this course, go ahead, Aaron.
I think it's about setting expectations. And it sounds like you had some bad instructors there where half the group's party and the other half doesn't want to get in the water. That just seems like, what were the expectations? I'm giving you a little bit of a hard time, but I think setting good expectation up front makes a big difference.
It does for sure, but it's still, I don't know. It's just weird. We did one middle Maine guide school, like Middle Fork and Maine Salmon, like 8-day, 10-day guide school. And there's like half the people were there just because it was a cheap way to see the Middle Fork and the Maine. And that was weird. It was like, you're just like doing the middle Maine for $600, which makes sense to you to do that. And they didn't want to even engage. For me, it didn't work. And so,
but Zach, I think, did you set the expectation up front, like on our courses? And this is granted, I've done the ARTA courses, but the ARTA courses, some of the best ones are the older people actually in those. And I haven't really had problems. Most of the people who took the ARTA ones,
you're right. They may be the best people in the course. That's totally true.
And they were willing to get wet. They're willing to do it. And the Lake Tahoe schools, we say up front, expect to be in the water every day of the course. You are going to be in the water every single day.
We probably didn't do that. I'm sure this was a long time ago. I mean, I was like 28 doing these. Like I probably wasn't awesome at doing them either. I probably just like, I was a guide. They're like, hey, you're a good guy. Teach guide school. And I was given no curriculum. Right. And they're like, I just taught a guide school. I didn't know to set expectations. And I'm sure that's what a lot of guide schools are like, though. Like it's the best guide who's probably 28, 29. It's like, hey, go teach people some stuff for 6 days at a low price.
And I think too, it probably depends on timing and where you're at. Because like, so if you're doing a Middle Fork in Maine, yes, like, and it's in July, I think you're going to get a lot of different people that are doing a California salmon 5 days in late March. Right. Where it's like, so the people that are committing to a late March in Northern California, where it probably doesn't snow on them, it's going to be really rainy. It's like, they're going to go be paddling and be better paddlers. Where somebody going on Middle Fork in Maine, they're going for the scenery.
Well, this was a May 29th trip, and it did snow on our drive to put in. Like it was cold. People knew it was high water. It was you can't do the middle Maine together in 8 days in June, July. But so.
Yeah, going back though, I'll say, the older people in general did everything. And I remember I had this one course where I had 2 women in their late 50s, these 2 Alaskan women, and there was some stuff where like, oh, they'd look at me beforehand like, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. I'm like, all right, here we go. But I think there was just this expectation from the beginning. And I feel like it's the same thing when I was teaching skiing to 5 to 7-year-olds. Like, you just have this is what we're doing, this is how it goes, and you don't make a big deal out of it, and you set this expectation.
I'm with you. Do it that way. Do it that way.
I think that helps a lot, is just saying the expectation.
Yeah, no, you guys are right. Cody, you're right. Like Aaron, you're right. I'm going to do it differently because I think if people want to learn how to row, I'm going to send them to a rowing school.
No, I think your rowing school is great. Don't misunderstand that.
Hold on, let me finish though. Yeah. But because we started that, I started because I was telling Cody we started a new guide school for next year. We're doing a regular guide school. You can see the photo up there. If you want to learn to be a professional guide and work as a guide, go to professional guide school. They're two, in a lot of ways, different set of things. Like in a professional guide school, you learn to give a safety talk. Like for clients, you learn how to paddle boat and like prep crews, and you learn like a lot of stuff that's very specific to being a professional. And you're being set an example of professionalism.
So you're saying that private boaters shouldn't give good safety talks?
Different safety talks
on rafting. You're saying private boaters don't need to give a good safety talk, but they don't need to know the same amount of step as professional guides when they give their safety talks.
They're different talks.
You're saying private boaters don't need to have the same amount of rescue training to go on the river as commercial guides do. They shouldn't have the same type of training.
They're very different. They can be very different training. They can focus on different things. Because most private boaters are not paddle boating. Now, if your friends who are paddle boating the South Fork, we've had this argument a million times. If they want to paddle boat, be private boaters, it's fine. Send them to guide school. Most people I know that are private boating are rowing boats. And so going to paddle boat guide school and learning how to like give paddle commands and do all that stuff. And I know you think it makes people better. I just disagree. And so I'm going to say,
you're going to teach paddle boating in your guide school. Is that what you're going to do?
We'll focus on paddle boating. We might have an oar boat or two, but we're going to focus on paddle boating because that's what that's what is the most lacking thing in guides right now is paddle boat skills. Like they'll pick up rowing.
I would agree with that. And like just not even
from the
guiding,
like
guiding anymore. That if you can teach somebody to start paddle boating, and you can switch them into oar boating.
That's why it's best to teach everyone to paddle boat first, Cody.
No, I agree.
No,
totally agree.
Everybody.
I started paddle boating. I think everyone should start paddle boating because it's way less consequences.
If you're just gonna row, then just row. Why are you learning to paddle boat when your goal is to row anyway? If your goal is a private boater to do like the Rogue and the Middle Fork of the Salmon and cap out the wind, there's no point in learning to paddle boat.
But let's back up here. Sorry, we're going. Early on, you said there's not as many paddle boat cap guides as there are people rowing guides. Like you need more people who are good at paddle boating. I would bet that the majority of rafting guides in the United States are better at paddle captaining than they are at rowing.
Because there's more. That's true. Because there's
way
more people
more people doing it.
So that's my point, Aaron. Why am I so like I want to teach a guide school that's focused on paddle boating because they're probably going to go paddle boat. That's the first job.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But you said, you said something a little bit. But I got that now. Okay.
But the other thing is like a lot of my guides who never learned to paddle boat, they just learn how to row. When they want to go work on the Middle Fork and they need to paddle boat, I say you're not ready. You can't paddle boat. They go, I can paddle boat. I'm like, yeah, you really can't. Like you don't have. There's a lot of things you didn't learn in your career, and so I want to make sure that the River Guides foundation is in paddle boating, and then from there they develop rowing, which is something they'll pick up. Where it doesn't go the other way. So for me, you're
right. It's very easy to go from paddle boating to rowing.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't mean you should learn to row by paddle boating, though. I know your argument.
I don't know because paddle boating requires. I think you get really good at reading whitewater by being a paddle boater.
Oh Jesus, Cody! I don't need you agreeing with Aaron.
Yeah, totally.
Cody,
you're right. Yeah.
That is the hardest. That is everything that like I feel like to take somebody from a mediocre to step up is the ability to read water and use the river features weaknesses to your advantage. And a paddle boating is the only thing that you're ever going to do with that. And so it's like, I think that's why, like, even like if you are just going to go row, go to a professional guide school where you're going to paddle for 5 days and learn how to push everything and use river features to your advantage. And then you get in an oar boat and you're like, oh, I can backstroke this. No problem.
You can learn, first of all, if you learn to forward everything, when you go row, you'll forward everything, which is a bad habit. Right. So like,
I am the guy that goes forward on everything. So I will say I do have a bad habit and I've been trying to do more backstroking a lot more.
Because you started paddle boating.
Yep.
You can also learn to use river features in the kayak. By the way, that's another way you can learn to use river features really well.
And kayaking is a great way to go. You're right.
So my point is, this is my philosophy. It might sound insane. If you want to learn how to row as a private boater, go to a school designed for rowing as a private boater. If you want to learn how to be a professional guide, go to a school designed for professional guides.
Here's a question for you. After your week-long rowing school, would you comfortably say, oh yeah, you can take your friends on the river who have never been rafting before?
No. We don't make any promises.
No, I'm not saying you make promises, but I'm just saying is do you even think you have the curriculum that's designed to do that?
No.
And I think the pro guide school is more of that curriculum. And I think that's it. If you're wanting to take your friends, you need more of that structure. You need more of that safety. You need more of the safety talks and the emphasis on training paddle crews and training people how to stay in the raft and what to do when they fall out. I think all that stuff versus learning just how to row your own boat, cool, and ship your oars and good boat spacing. Yeah, that stuff's important, but that's just a fraction of being a guide. And if you want to be a guide, private boat guide or commercial guide, I think that's the thing is you're talking about being a private boater versus a private guide. And I think, a private rafting guide where you do private trips and you guide other people and take other people on the river, I think you should do a pro guide school.
I mean, so
if you're just going to row your own boat down by yourself, then sure.
I don't want to turn this into like a commercial.
We need to look at comments.
Cool. I don't want to turn this into a commercial for our trips, but like that's why we have a class 3 school followed by a separate class 3 safety and rescue school, where you do all these things we're talking about, followed by the class 4 school. So there's
you're saying through those schools you teach people how to teach their guests to hold on and stay in the raft and how to be safe in the raft when they're riding in the raft?
I wouldn't say that exact thing.
No, you don't train them. You don't teach that. Yeah.
But we do a lot about like rescuing people and giving safety talks, how to prepare people in your boat in the class 3 safety and rescue. There's a lot more about like passengers. In the class 3 school, you're learning, hey, how can I get a boat down the river? It's 5 days. It's 5 days of how can I get a boat down the river? And it's enjoyable. People have a wonderful time. It's like a vacation. If you go to a guide school, it's like you're shoved in with a bunch of people and you're like cooking the meals and it's not relaxing. And you're learning.
It's more intensive for sure.
It's more intensive.
If you want a vacation, do a rowing clinic. If you want like an outward bound style, Knoll style experience, take a professional river guide school.
Well, they're not. First of all, not all guide schools are the same. So I wouldn't say like blanket that. Take Aaron's Lake Tahoe Community College guide.
No, but more of that style where you're in it, you're doing it, you're bonding through this experience of overcoming challenges and. Yeah. Okay.
We've hammered
versus sipping margaritas in camp while your instructors make you dinner.
Well, it's sipping margaritas in camp while some of the guides are making dinner, and the instructors are doing talks about different topics. So it's like educational in the evenings too. It's not like your instructors are making you dinner. All right, we've hammered this so many times. I just want to say, Aaron, I added a guide school for next spring that we're going to do because I feel like it's important. And Mark's going to come over and we're going to do it to IRF standards.
Oh, cool.
So like we're pretty jazzed to do like a high level guide course to a high standard. Mark was pretty disappointed by how bad guides did at certain things here. Like experienced guides, how they weren't very good at swimming and a few other I think some of their boating was suspect.
I would love to have him come down on one of our college courses and see what he thinks of those. It would be nice.
Yeah. So we're pretty jazzed on that. Let's get to comments. I'm a private boat on a blasting guide school. I feared rather make mistakes of people who wanted to be guides rather than putting my friends in the water. I want to paddle. Yeah, cool. Happy to see more instruction available. Yep, lots of options. I don't know, BW. I'm not. You also agree with Cody. You agree with Aaron and Cody. Whatever. Somebody agrees with me. Guys, this makes no sense to me. If you want to learn how to row as a private boater, go to a rowing private boater.
Just because it has the right title on it doesn't mean it's the right course.
Like if you want to learn how to do something, go to a class designed for that, taught by people who are really good at that.
I think your course is good at teaching people to row a boat down a river.
Yeah, that's what it does. Like if people want to row a boat down the river, that's what we do. All right, you're saying that. I can already tell you're saying that with.
Well, that's it. Period. End of discussion.
Our class 3 school is really good at that. But then that's why there's more opportunities for education. It's not.
Yeah. You got to take these additional courses. It's the gotcha at the end. Oh yeah, you're not done yet. You got to get this course too. Oh, you got to take this one. How long is your safety course?
3 days.
So, yeah, I mean, how long is your guide school going to be?
7 days. 7 days? Yeah, 7 days.
And ours is 8 days. So ours basically is the same length as yours combined. So it's kind of an equivalent. You're just breaking it up a little differently.
I mean, I like breaking
things up. I understand what you're doing, Zach, and it makes sense to me. It's because some people don't want that stuff and you're doing it separately. And I think there's something to be said for that. But I think also for the people who just want to do all of it and do all of it at once, it makes sense to take a professional course.
I'm a big fan of learning things in chunks too. Like learn something go practice, learn something, go practice.
And I agree, but I think those two things, they dovetail very nicely together in one course. You don't need them. I think your course is fine doing separate, but I think they also work very well together in the course because it's good breaking it up, do some guiding, do some swimming, do some guiding, flip some rafts. Stuff comes up in the course, you teach about this, that, and then that happens, and we get to work on that. So, yeah.
I'm going to say less than 10% of privates do paddle boats. I mean, if you're in the South Fork with American, fine. If you're on like the Deschutes, fine. But like in the real world out there, everybody's rowing.
Really?
Cody, you're our representative of private boaters here. What do you think?
BW, where are you from, by the way?
I think it's the exact same split of what you're doing rivers on, right? So like, I think more private boaters do multi-days, and you see more oars for guides on multi-days. And on day trips, you have a lot more guides that are paddle boating. And so I just think like right now, culturally in the private community, you have a lot of people that are just trying to go do multi-day raft trips, and they're not trying to go do day trips. There's still percentage, right? Like, but just in generalization. So if you're going on the upper Clackamas outside of Portland, you're going to see a lot of people R2ing, R3, and R4ing. You're not going to see a lot of people oar boating. But if you go on the Deschutes or you're on the Middle Fork with private trips, yes, they're all oar boating.
All right, let's move on. Let's try not to bring this topic up again. It drives me
It
crazy.
would be nice if like American Whitewater had some data on like number of private boat trips down, day trips, paddle boating, and that type of stuff. Would be interesting to see.
Idaho, Payette. Yeah, those
Wow.
are,
So
yeah.
he's saying that as a private boater in Idaho, which surprises me.
But not a private boater in Idaho that does this main salmon, Middle Fork salmon, Selway. He's doing the Payette, Clark's Fork, St. Joe.
He's
Those are all day
saying there's a
trips.
lot of but he's saying there's a lot of private paddle boaters in Idaho, because Idaho I think of it as a multi-day extravaganza. That's like all everyone's got their truck on a trailer. But you think about like the Locksaw, like look at Locksaw Fest. How many people are up there for that? There's many people.
But it's Cat Boat Central. Locksaw Fest is Cat Boat Central.
There's a lot of paddle boats on it too, aren't there?
There's some, but it's Cat Boat Central. Okay, let's move on. We've hammered this to death. We've lost all of our viewers.
Yeah.
We want to have some success. We're gonna do video review again, Aaron. It's been a while, and I think this is a good one. Cody, have you been on the American River before?
No, I haven't.
This is the South Fork of the American River, and this is a rapid that Aaron and I know pretty well. And there's a flip.
Forward, dig.
That's pretty high. That's a good swim.
And there's Fowler's Rock right there. That's usually that rock right there on the right. In the summer is 10 feet out of the water.
Oh, at least, yeah.
Aaron was there when I rapped. That's my first rap on that rock. Good old Fowler's.
In a bucket boat. Yeah, that was a beautiful rap.
In a bucket boat. So just to go back, first of all, are you happy with the spacing?
I think that's pretty reasonable.
I'd say it's okay.
Yeah, and I like that they have the oar boat out front, because the oar boat, if this raft flips, looks like 6 people in the water, and so I like it. Is an oar boat enough to rescue 6 people?
There's some go back to the raft. Yeah, you're fine. You're good.
Okay, and then are you happy with how these guys are dressed?
Yeah, this looks pretty. Is this like a guide school or something? What is this? These people, they have hip throw bags on.
Some do.
This looks like an IRF course.
Well, maybe. I'm not happy with some of these PFDs being kind of low flow to this high water. Like this PFD here doesn't seem like an appropriate PFD. This one is 16, 17 pounds. But for that high water, I'm going to want some more float. I like those two people up front have the neck pillow PFDs. So that boat flips. Which is a bummer. 2 swimmers.
Where's the oar boat out front that you're talking about?
That one that flipped.
That's an oar boat?
Yeah.
Oh.
So if you're in the paddle boat right now, what are you thinking?
I do like that. I mean, it looks pretty continuous right there because you got more rapids just in the background, but they didn't focus right on where the flip happened. They got below it because that's where the people are going.
Yeah, like they went. So you're saying it's good they sped up to go past to get the people. and there's somebody at downstream for sure right now. Would you guys go for this person that gets you quickly, or try to chase that person downstream?
Depends if there's another boat behind me.
I think there is a boat behind him.
And it depends on the person in the water.
I think it's 50-50, right? Like, I think you could find half the people would be like, oh, you need to go to the next person. But what happens if you never catch that next person? I feel like you always need to, the best case is always take the person that you can save right now and then focus on the person that you can take care of later.
Yeah, I'm really worried about that person downstream. Like, they're just gone. Whereas, like, the person right next, that person who swam right there could swim to the boat and get back in the boat. I also want to make sure that the people in the paddle boat don't also get in trouble.
I think this is classic, though. The person reaching over the front when they're not even within distance instead of paddling a little longer.
And so right there, I feel like
Lord.
they were lucky they didn't flip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I think going back here, my goals here. Let's go back here. I see the flip happen. Boom. Okay. So my in my brain is like, we're not the lead boat. We have no downstream safety. So let's take care of ourselves first. Let's not make something worse. And I'm thinking, let's get to the most downstream person, because it's just, the river's just going. So let's have our successful runs. I would point straight down and get ahead of both of them as fast. Like, that person. So see how they pointed to the right? If it was me, I keep going to that person right in front of them, this person here, and let this person either swim to the boat or they'll eventually catch up. That's what I'd be thinking. Any different opinions?
Yeah, I like your idea. If you're close enough to grab that person, easily grab them, but don't go out of your way and get eddied out and let the other person just disappear around the corner. And ideally, you're not just doing a 2-boat trip. And ideally, if there's a boat behind you, then it even makes more sense for you to pass that person, because the boat behind you can pick up that one, but the boat behind you can't pass you to go get the people farther downstream.
But I think they're so focused on this swimmer, they're now on the wrong side of the river.
What's the deal with the face mask motorcycle helmets for rafting? Is that a new thing?
Maybe.
Or maybe they're a kayaker doing a, private or a guide school, and that's the helmet that they have. Right. So, so I definitely agree. Like, too many people, when an emergency happens, while trying to make the emergency better, become liabilities themselves. So, like, you have to still paddle your boat. You can't put anyone in the water. But every time I'm probably going to go after the people that are right there next to my boat every single time, because I can get them out of the water, and I can at least, because, like, if I don't get them out of the water and they start swimming over into these trees because it's high water, I don't care about the person that went around the corner, because, like, that's a real problem of these people over here.
I don't know. The person around the corner scares me the most.
Yeah.
The person that's just gone. Like, they're just, especially in water this high, like, once they're around the corner, like.
Totally agree. But, like, at some point, like, even if you went after him, are you going to catch him?
Yeah, at some point you will.
Like,
depends.
It's like they need to be able to, if they're in high water, something like this, they need to be their best advocate. They need the ability to find a way to swim into an eddy, slow themselves down. Like,
and I would say they say the same thing about the
second person. The second person needs to, like, the second person is close to the raft, so that second person has the raft close to swim to. The first person's pretty far away. Anyway, do you see the oars? The oars came off too. I just noticed the oars floating downstream.
Cody, I agree with you that, like, there is some concern with you seeing people going towards strainers and stuff like that, and that's a good point of just letting them float down there. That's not good as well.
And you can see the first person right there in the strainer. Do you see that?
Yep.
So the first person went to the strainer. We watched the same video a few weeks ago where somebody was stuck in the strainers. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
The same exact spot. Like, somebody was stuck in a strainer and they did it like an exercise. But this person got free. I bet a lot of people this year are going to end up in those strainers. See the oars down there? Is the first person? No, the first person let go of the raft. So now they're both in the strainers. And they're focusing on the raft. So I feel like that's a bummer. Like they should focus on the people, not the raft. Thoughts?
I mean, they could just be focusing on their boat, not. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So those two people are still swimming. Hopefully they're not in the trees anymore.
But yeah, I definitely agree. I don't really care about the raft.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have, the oars are gone.
No.
It's useless now. Like let it in. There's a reservoir down there. How do you guys feel about this technique for flipping? Have you ever done this before? Like, would you put a flip line on it right there? Or do you like this, just stand up and flip it over?
I'm waiting to critique until I see if they can get it done. That worked pretty nice.
It's interesting. We had this happen in our RF course a couple weeks ago. We flipped a boat. They had to flip over. And the guides put a flip line on it to flip it back over. And Mark was like, no, just grab it and flip it over. And I probably wouldn't have tried that before. I've never tried just flipping it over like this. And so when I saw this, I was surprised how easy it was.
Even with the frame on it.
Even
If I didn't have a frame on it, it'd be like, I think it depends how heavy it is.
Yeah.
It's a nice raft.
Yeah, I think that's a wing.
Yeah.
I think it's a new wing. Or it's like, well, the
Yeah,
valves are on the
that's
inside, so it's not
Yeah.
that new. Or maybe it's a new wing. They chose to put the valves on the inside.
Are those wing D-rings?
It had the wing floor, like the very iconic wing floor.
How's the wing floor different?
It's got the really tight serrated bottom. I've never seen any other raft that has that style.
Doesn't the whatchamacallit have it? Oh, Zach, your favorite company with the boats that don't track. The
Moravia?
No. The other one that's made in the USA.
Air?
Air boats have similar floors, don't they?
Those are I have two of them. They're more strings, and they're like the bottoms come in as an oval.
Oh, okay.
And it's definitely not an air. Oh, it says wing right there too, so we know. It looks like a pretty new boat. But now without oars, what's this person gonna do?
So it looks like they didn't have leashes on their oars.
Yeah.
And they were running locks. That's a bad combo.
Yeah, you get with pins and clips, you don't necessarily need leashes, but with oar
You
locks,
can get away with it more. There's a high probability you have at least one oar left on, and maybe even two. But yeah.
Jared never used a flip line in real conditions. There always seems to be an easier way. I've used it a ton. You guys use flip lines in the real world?
Always.
I have.
Yeah.
A lot of actually paddles. I've used probably paddles the most.
Yep.
The handle of paddle.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think the flip line's great for flipping the boat over, but it's also there's a million. It's like a Swiss Army knife. You can like just clip your boat on or hang it on the shore. It's an anchor on the boat, anchor on the raft. There's just it's a really useful thing to have, I think. Okay, so let's move on. Oh, no, we already showed that one.
This is what you just showed us.
Yeah, sorry. We're gonna move on. This is Hans. Before we go on, yeah, that's a good point. People can R2 it, but that didn't look. I mean, that crude. The paddlers may not have had the skills to run it, right? Oh, the two people that swam get the two people that swam to R2 it. But yeah, it's a good point, Jared. All right, and so there's only one place in Hans you shouldn't go, and it's right here. Am I right? That's literally the only place you shouldn't go.
Is this a commercial trip?
I think so.
That looks like a commercial raft. Looks like a commercial Avon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like a commercial oars strip. But this is older, huh? This isn't new, is it?
It's not new. It's
Oh, it's
not ours.
Outdoors Unlimited, OU.
Yeah.
Ah.
So here, I think this happened. This is a common thing. Like, how do people get out of this situation?
Yeah, so tell us, how did you get out of it?
I'm asking you. Do you throw, like, the other day I was talking to somebody about little parachutes you throw in the water. Could you throw like a parachute in the water and have it pull you out?
No.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I think the biggest thing, right, is like once you get in this situation, is just like getting to the high side constantly, right? And like these boats come out. I've never seen one still in those holes. And so it's like if you can keep people in the boat, getting them to the high side, and then looks like the guide is doing a good job of trying to get at least one oar in the water and just try to change how your boat's sitting in there. And it will come out.
Do you know Aaron, do you remember my technique?
What's your technique?
Make lunch.
What happens if you're in the raft, though? I thought we were talking about if you're in the raft.
No, everybody else can make lunch. Oh, you just, do what Cody said. Just like keep high siding. No, you'll have to come out eventually, probably. It helps. I mean, getting the oars helps. I'm not sure if that's what did it, but if you can get control of both of the oars, you can pull yourself out. Like if you can get your oars back put in the right place.
The ones that are really hard is where you're constantly getting window shaded and your boat's, almost going in a circle. Those are the ones that are near. You usually lose both of your oars just over time. And you're just all you're doing is just trying to get to the high side.
Yeah.
You're just surviving at that point.
I'm going to say if you've done any kayaking and got stuck in holes in kayaking, most of the moves you can use in a kayak to get out of a hole, you can use with a raft as well.
Like just if you can get control of the oars, you can turn. You want to turn the bow, like just turn it, try to get the bow to catch water and pull you.
Yeah,
out.
try to get the bow catch water, or you get an angle, so you surf one way across it towards one side and see if you can get out on that side, or surf the other way across it and try to get out the other way. Or if you're spinning around, sometimes if you just pull hard backwards and pull your back end into the hole harder, so you go deeper in, then you'll ender out versus you're just spinning around. Like just try to go in deeper, so you'll do an ender out. Just play with different things, like pulling harder in, which sometimes seems counterintuitive. Pulling harder into the hole works. Maybe pulling yourself out of the hole, trying to get to either side works. And then a lot of times when I first drop in, I'll just drop in to see what happens. Just like kind of hang out, just like, all right, let's just chill out and kind of keep everyone secure and just watch what the river's doing to the boat. I think you're right, Cody. A lot of times they'll just come out on its own.
And I think like the one thing that's the common denominator in all of us is like I see too many times is people grab a throw bag and then they're like, oh, I'm going to throw a throw bag from the boat out to the shore. And it's like, no, just wait. Just if you're one of the crews that went past, get to an eddy and set some downstream safety. Right? Just be prepared to get some swimmers, get a boat that has nobody in it, but don't run up and try to catch a throw bag to pull them out.
Or people will go by on a raft and throw a throw bag at the raft.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly dangerous.
That's the preferred technique, right?
No. I lost an oar reading pins and clips. I think you can lose an oar reading pins.
No, I know people who have.
Definitely can.
But I think in the couple questions for you is like, how tight were your were you running stirrups with your pins and clips? And then how tight were your stirrups? If you're running pins and clips without stirrups, I'd say definitely run a leash. But if you're running pins and clips with a stirrup, if the stirrup's tight enough, it's really hard to get the oar in and out. And if your blade can't go through the stirrup, then it's pretty secure. I've seen most of the oars I've seen the blade actually comes out through the stirrup. Versus,
really? Well, it depends. Are you using the white stirrups, the good stirrups, or the crappy NRS ones?
Yeah, the crappy NRS ones, I think it's harder to lose an oar with those because those ones they don't let go.
They just they flop down though, and they can widen up for the blade. Whereas the white ones, the blade won't go through.
I feel like I've seen on white ones with the blade
Really?
going out blade side.
My ones are very big.
I have a new idea that the
Look at that
black
opening.
NRS
Blade's not going to
stirrup,
fit through there.
the black NRS stirrups are perfect for backup stirrups because they like pack really easily. Like they're
I mean, you just don't want to use them.
yeah, you
It's
don't.
so
but,
bad.
Like I would
These-
rather have a backup black stirrup than
A black and white stirrup?
well.
That's
I mean,
actually a good. That's actually a good idea. I like that, Cody.
Because
Oh
the
my
white
god, the
ones,
two of you
unless
are
you have a-
insane together.
So, like,
yeah.
if you just have like a small bag that has all your repair kit in it, you don't have room for a full white.
They're really,
Yeah.
you're right. They're really awkward to
do
pack,
yeah.
and they get
You have an
broken.
Orbo. You have an
Cody,
entire
that's
Orbo.
a great idea.
Just
They're-
throw
they're-
these in there.
They're really good for
These
like
pack flat.
a dry box is really good to throw the white ones in, but the black ones, like for if I run just like a Pelican box that has all of my repair stuff in it.
Guys,
And
they're
so-
this big. This takes no space.
Yeah, but I
I'm-
use a small Pelican box that has all
yeah.
my repair
I'm gonna,
stuff. So it's like
I'm going to say this. So I don't even think you need to bring a spare
Exactly. Because you can use a
you
cam strap.
just duct tape it up. Like if it usually they'll break in the middle or something. Anywhere they break, if you just put duct tape, like if this is the strip, you go duct tape over the whole thing, front and back, and then around a couple times on the holes on each end. It'll like
Could
last you
fix it with
forever.
duct tape. Also, like just as good as a crappy NRS one is just a cam strap or a piece of rope.
How do you do that? How do you, Zach? Show me how you do that with a piece of rope.
You just tie a piece of rope. You just like instead of having this thing, you tie a knot here and a tie a knot there. And
What
put the
knots are you
rope
tying?
through it. That's bowling. And you just put the oar in between.
A bowl.
I've done it with cam
bowline?
strap. Yeah, on both ends. You just take it. You take a
And
piece
isn't
of
the
rope,
rope just going to
bowline.
pop off?
No, it's a rope just like this. A bowline to a bowline with the oar in the middle. But what I've never done that, but it would work. I've just used cam straps.
Show
I've
me,
just
show me how that's going to work. Zach, I think there's some problems with it.
There's
I'm
not a
curious
problem.
I'm curious to see your bowling to bowling technique.
I don't have an oar here with me, or
No. I know.
I'm not.
Maybe
Aaron-
next time you run the wind, run bowling and bowling on bowling for your
All right.
clips.
I think you can. I think those NRS things are so crappy that nothing is better than them.
Cody, I think it's a great idea.
Just store this somewhere else.
the
I hate it. You two are not supposed to agree. Cody, I didn't bring you here to agree with Aaron or Aaron to agree with you.
I bought tons of like old pins and clips on Marketplace, and it came with tons of those NRS ones. And I was like, I was about to throw them away. And I was like, honestly, as backups, they're not bad. That's why.
Why are you buying tons of pins and clips?
Because the Downriver does not make the silver clips anymore. And so like I've just kind of been getting as many as I can while they come up.
Wait,
are
like
you
the
getting-
clips? How
hold on,
many
are you-
clips do you need?
Are you getting the ball on top style or Aaron's big rubber thing on the top style?
I ended up with both. While it was $30 for like 19 clips and a few pins.
Oh man,
Wait, how
I
much
will
was-
buy
how
those
much
all
was
day
shipping
long.
on the clips? The shipping on the clips must have been
No, it was like $9. It was a screaming deal. But yeah, so like the like Clavy clip and the Downriver style, the silver one, they don't make that anymore. That size.
What's
the only ones you
silver
can-
one?
What do you mean the silver one?
Yeah.
So the silver clips that were made by Downriver Equipment, those the ones
Like
that
these?
are in his hand, you can't buy that style anymore. No,
what can you buy?
you
are
can
the-
only buy the black NRS ones.
Really?
And those are made to run with the PVC pipe on them.
Correct. Yep.
You know what? So many outfitters though have those other ones sitting around. You just
No,
go talk to
I'm the
some-
same way, Cody, though. Every time pins and clips are for sale, I'm like, yes, please. Yes,
Right.
please. I have a strategic supply up here. I collect them because they last forever too. Like once you have them, these
Then
things.
why
really
do you
break.
need so many if they last forever?
Because
Why
I-
not?
yeah, because
And-
when I bought them, I only had one of the silver ones.
And didn't I
and-
give you some, Cody?
Yeah, I got two of the black ones and one silver.
Yeah. Like some people I just like. I'm like, hey, like you want pins and clips? It's nice to have some stuff to give people to try it out. Versus like figuring out like going to NRS and ending up with something like this. This thing is, I mean, you should send these back to NRS with a nasty letter. I mean, that's what you can do with them. Please don't use these for spares. This is, they're so bad. Okay. I guess want to move on to some footage. Our next one, figure out how to get back on here. Aaron's favorite, the upper wind. This is not me though, Aaron. This is upper wind footage from somebody
Why
else.
is it called the upper wind? Where's the lower wind?
There's a lower wind. Yeah. Downstream, the lower part. The same way there's an upper and lower Tuolumne. And there's
okay.
There's also
for our IF course we took out at the end of the lower, right?
no, we did the upper.
No, but we did those flip drills near the reservoir. Was that on the?
That was on the lower white salmon.
Oh, that was on lower white salmon. Okay,
yeah, there's a lower that is really fun, but it's illegal to. You used to be able to walk on a fish ladder to portage some waterfalls, and it's now illegal to do the portage. And so you can only go do the lower illegally, or at super low water when you kayak it in the summer to kayak the waterfalls. You portage the waterfalls and river's high, and the river's super low. You can go kayak the waterfalls. Okay. We actually also Dan and I did the upper wind a few weeks ago when he was in town. It was fun. Side note. So upper wind. This is a good rapid called Ram's Horn. It's a nice line. So you're saying this person in this boat is way better prepared because they went to a professional guide school. See how they're like positioning their paddlers. They can tell them how to stay in the boat. Like somebody rowing people in the boat should have gone to a professional guide school.
I'd have that frame a little farther back though.
Well, obviously they didn't learn enough in their school, but they had a good line. Here's an R2 boat. This is, I think it said it was 4.7 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of a low level. It just dropped out this week. I'm gonna fast forward ahead a little bit. I think I paddled that boat's sweet. I paddled the boat just like that in the R2 race, the Clack. That blue and yellow, the blue and red Sotar. And this boat right here on the lower right, you can see my cursor. That's one of the Rogue Series boats. Have you seen those?
Uh-huh.
That
the one with like the mesh floor.
Yep. Oh, here we go. Here's our surf. Let's go back. I want to see that happen. So the one thing about this rapid is you really want to be on the left at the end. So like they're going pretty far right, but right in middle here are not great lines. Because you end up in that there, and then there's a hole right here. So if this boat flips, do you guys feel like these boats are ready to deal with a flip?
I think that if they're all supposed to be there for safety, there's too many boats in one eddy.
I think I'd have one boat eddy out.
I'd probably have only one boat. If you're talking about for safety, if you're talking about watching the bros, yeah, it's awesome and you're good to go. And there's only two people in the boat, so it's not a big deal. But if you're trying to maximize your safety, you wouldn't all be in that eddy.
Would you want somebody with a throw bag?
No.
And then those guys are doing a pretty good job, right? They're just high siding.
High siding, getting the paddle down in as clean a water as they can.
Yep. That was sweet.
I think the biggest thing is like running with like a collection of random people on rivers. A lot of times, like on private trips, is like in that situation, be like, "Hey guys, I'll get swimmers. You guys get boat." Right? Like you kind of establish that before somebody starts swimming.
Yeah.
And then it clears everything out because then the person that's going to pick up swimmers, they get themselves prepared mentally. If they come out of the boat, instead of somebody comes out of the boat and then you try to solve the problem.
That's a good point. This is the wind race, I just realized. That's the Oregon rafting team. So the one thing I noticed here was, see that? I'm going to go back for a second. See this guy with the throw bag right here? Do you guys like that, him having a throw bag?
I think it depends what he does with it. I don't have a problem with the person staying on shore with the throw bag.
I mean, wouldn't better safety though be, I mean, it's not the best view of what's happening, but wouldn't the better safety be just like the next eddy down, hanging out in a boat? Oh, there's Michael right there.
They've got tons of people on boats downstream anyways.
All right.
There's probably
See,
more boats down farther down too.
I didn't know this, but there's Michael right there. There's the cap. So this person cap boating, should they have gone to Lake Tahoe Community College Guide School
Why?
to get better at cap boating?
Yes, every education possible. Yes.
Okay.
No, we don't. No, I mean,
Yes.
I don't know. The cap boaters, they can take Zach's cap boating class.
We don't have a cap boating class.
I know, but you're going to start one. That's why you're asking that
I'm
question.
not going to start. I'm not going to
The
start.
Zach Collier cap boating extravaganza.
We have a rowing school. It's if you want to cap boat, that's where they cap boat. All right, I think that's all the carnage we have in that one.
When are you going to start your R2 school?
We're not doing that.
Oh, that would be sweet though.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be super fun. I think R2 and like if anyone's watching that hasn't R2'd, go do it. It's my favorite way to go run a boat.
I'm gonna say this. It's better than rowing. Like all these people taking Zach's rowing school.
It's not. Are you kidding me?
You could have the R2 add-on.
Hold on. Did you guys get together beforehand just to figure out what would trigger
No,
me?
I'm in agreement. Zach, you can have the R2 add-on after your school. You go do the nugget section for a day of R2ing afterwards. A day trip R2ing after your 5-day rowing school, and just to try it out, and just take them down the nugget section.
R2ing can be a lot of fun for sure, but rowing's better.
No way.
Hands down.
No way.
Disagree.
No way.
Hands
no way.
down.
I don't think there's anything better like kayaking, rowing, anything. R2ing's the best.
Cody, how much do you weigh?
215.
Oh, you're a big dude too. Okay, I thought you may be a smaller guy. Because
Hold on.
I'm like 165, you know, and I think two guys about my size R2ing is really fun. When I have R2 with someone like Zach, it's a little harder, the bigger dude, and I'm a small one. So I was like, that's figured like maybe Zach doesn't like it because he's bigger, but you're closer to his size than you are to my size. So
Hold on.
You guys watched. We did a week ago. You guys watched us high side on the Illinois R2ing, and that guy used to do like world's strongest man competitions. And it's funny though, it's like he hadn't paddled that much. And so my paddle strokes were still stronger than his, even though he was a lot stronger than me just because of inefficiency. Yeah. And so like, I truly think like if you R2 and you R2 really big stuff, I only have like 3 or 4 people that I will go run like green truss level paddling where I feel really confident, where like we're equally matched, and that like if I say that I don't want to run something, they're not going to try to talk me into it.
I think R2ing is like having a great dance partner.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to have the right partner.
Yeah.
You know, totally. Yeah, it's fun with anyone but if you want to go do harder stuff, having a good partner, it's amazing. I agree. It's the best way to run a river. Yeah.
It's not the best way to run a river. It is a way to run a river.
Oh, no way. No way. Best way to run technical whitewater. Not really? High volume Grand Canyon. No. Flat water.
Technical.
No.
So like
technical
for me,
whitewater. Yes. So
kayaking
fun.
is comparable and fun for its own reasons. But rowing, like the oar management you have to do on technical whitewater and like the tight moves and the little tiny things you do with the oars.
No.
Nothing.
You're by yourself. You're alone.
I like the teamwork of an R2.
Yeah, exactly.
The teamwork of an R2 is sweet. Yeah, and like you can run it like a kayak. Like you're taking a raft and you're running it like a kayak.
You're right. If you have the right partner and you're doing a properly steep run, like the wind would kind of bore me in an R2. Right? Because like it's fun, but
clearly you're not trying to have enough fun with it, because I'm sure you could catch some eddies, do some ferries.
See, in a cat boat, I can do all those things. But like when you have a partner, you're at the whim of your partner. Hey, let's take this sick line. No. Let's surf this thing. No. Also,
maybe people just don't trust you enough, Zach. I don't know what to say.
Maybe. Also, R2ing, you have to. The partner is an important thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like you have to have a good partner who also has the same amount of free time and doesn't have constraints. Like, hey, I got to get off the river today because I got to run to Dairy Queen or something. So you have to have somebody who can like be there. And if they bail the morning of, you're not going boating.
No, because you can always row a boat too. Hopefully you know how to row as well, Zach. But R2ing is more fun. If you have the opportunity to R2. If you don't have the opportunity to R2, maybe kayak or row a boat. But R2 is like,
I'm not going to say R2.
I think Cody and I would say number one choice. If I had a choice,
no way.
With good R2 partner, Zach, I'd rather R2 with you than go run 2 or rafts with you. I think it'd be more.
It depends on the river. It depends on like do you like a few things
in general.
I think if it's the green truss, I'm not going to row the green truss. Like I've done that. It wasn't a good idea. Like I'm going to want to R2 the green truss. If it's the wind, I'd rather row because like we can surf and like hey, check out this surf wave.
We can surf R2ing.
Not the same. You have these little tiny paddles. It's hard to catch waves. All right. Anyway, Jay's with me.
Rowing the bomb. I don't know what he means by rowing the bomb.
Look, his picture is him in a catboat, so it means rowing is the bomb. R2 is great. There's no flat water or wind.
Yep, totally agree, Aaron. Yeah. No, it's not good for that stuff.
I love. Hey, by the way, I have some credibility here. You're talking to the Oregon State R2 champion, so I have credibility here. I just won the Oregon State R2 race.
You did not win it by yourself. We won it.
And when you no. When I say
you have to say we because it wasn't just you. You did not win it.
Okay, Mark and I
team won it.
Mark and I won the Oregon State R2 race at the Clackamas River Festival.
You say we won it.
Yep, we won the race. That's maybe the problem. Is I'm more of an independent person.
Yeah, clearly.
I'm also like, I think the difference too is like I'm a pretty introverted person, and so I'll get worn out. What?
The introvert has 10,000 subscribers.
No, but like if I have to drive, hold on. If I have to drive with somebody to go to make conversation with them for an hour, and then be on the river with them for another 3 hours and drive home, like it wears me out. Like I need breaks in like conversation. So like
exactly, you call me and talk to me for like 3 hours on the phone. You'll be like driving. You just call me because you're like you could tell you're lonely in your truck and you want to talk.
No, I'm not.
I know.
Zach's
on a long drive. Sure, I'll grab my kid. I'm gonna take him
if I'm driving for 5 hours, if I'm driving for 5 hours, yeah, I'd like to talk to somebody for half an hour. But I'm not
half an hour. A lot longer than half an hour. Okay.
Anyway, I enjoy conversation. I enjoy it, but like that's just for me I need some alone time. Okay. So I think that's maybe why I like run too. You
don't like R2ing? Well, I don't feel like there's a lot of talking when you're R2ing on the right run. You know, you're it's like when you're dancing, you're not like talking to us, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. No, you're focused and being present.
Yeah, but if it's like the Clackamas and there's all the flat water and you got to wait for people for like, oh, everybody, come on, guys, let's go.
Yeah, no, but flat water, R2ing flat water is not fun. Okay, we're not talking about R2ing flat water, are we, Cody?
I'll do the upper Clackamas R2ing, no problem. Like I still love going.
But you're not going to take your raft out to the lake and be like, hey, let's go R2 on this lake today.
No,
I
wouldn't take my raft with my oars to go do that unless my kid's fishing.
I mean, on the Clackamas, there's so many cool surf waves and that you could do in a cat and just, I don't know. All right, let's just agree to disagree again. Cody, I really thought you and I were going to be like agreeing on stuff. I didn't realize this was going to turn into this. All right, let's move into our next video. I think something happens here.
You guys hear about the 40,000 pulse flow?
Yeah.
Have you guys heard anything about that?
Yeah, the one that they were doing for rehabilitation.
Yeah, like the beaches and all that. So I had some friends that were on the water doing it, and they said like with the beaches at night they had to keep moving their camp up higher, and higher. And then in the morning there was like all these logs and trees and dry bags floating downstream because all these people didn't put their stuff up high enough, I guess. So there's just tons of gear floating down the river. Yeah. Someone has asked me the other day, "Oh, did you want to be on there for that, for the 40,000 flow?" And part of me was like, "Yeah," but then I heard those stories. I was like, "That doesn't sound that fun. You're in the middle of the night having to move your camp up and losing gear and waiting for all the logs to wash down."
I do hate dam control rivers that fluctuate at night, and so you're always playing that game of like, did I set my camp up in the right spot, or you're trying to move it in the middle of the night and
your boats are 200 yards from the river in the morning.
Yes, I really hate that.
Did they know the pulse was coming?
Yeah, they knew.
Okay, it's not like a surprise.
No, they knew. Yeah.
Okay. I would have loved to have been out there. That sounds cool.
But I also think it would be weird on a river that long of like, when is the pulse actually going to hit you? You know, if you're 180 miles down.
Man, that trip I did. Wait, what happened here? The trip I did this fall, this one guy, he calculated everything. He knew the exact moment the tides would come. Even like way downstream, he knew like at 3 a.m, let your boat out a little bit. At 4:15 p.m, the water's coming up, so we'll have to pull our boats in. So some people love calculating that stuff.
They got a throwback out.
Yeah, it's just so frustrating. What we're going through today are a bunch of videos I've been saving for a few months. Like as they could pop up. I'm not sure I even watched this. I'm not sure what's going to happen. But there's a flip. What's when you see this flip? What's your guys' instinct? What do you want to do?
Get that camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in a good spot. Just play the catcher mitt. Start grabbing some. Don't focus on the raft. Focus on the people. Not throw a rope from the raft.
Well, you know what? I'm not sure if that's the worst thing there. Because like they're deep in the eddy, and getting out of these eddies sometimes can be tricky, and they're able to pull them into the eddy. That actually worked pretty well.
I don't know. That person didn't even need the rope to get to the boat.
Like
now they're wrapped up in a rope trying to get in.
I don't know. I think they what happens if they got sucked down in some current, got taken down cheap. The raft in particular, though, like the throwback to the raft right there, I think that was
the bow line.
Help pull it in.
I first of all, this throwback I completely disagree with. Like this throwback coming out, this boat should go out like to the people, not send a rope. And now we have this like dangerous rope that people can get tangled up in when nobody's in danger here. Everybody's going to be fine, right? Like nobody's going to drown. Like it's easy water. I can maybe see this bow line being thrown to that person to like attach the boat. Maybe.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
But look at all this rope tangle and this person didn't even use the throw bag.
Was that really that dangerous? They're basically in a lake.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. They could have got caught like on the eddy line with the rope.
Oh, geez. More likely the person got sucked down and taken down.
Plus, it's just a bad habit. Like, it's a bad habit to get into. Like, it's just like go get the boat.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go, guys.
All right, later.
Chatting with you guys. I'll see you guys later.
It's about time.
All right.
Later, Aaron.
Hey, and Cody, you're right.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so I think there should just be like a flow chart of decision making. It's like, should I throw a throw bag? And like you come to yes, and it just goes, are you sure? And it just puts you to no. Because there are very, very, very few times that a throw bag makes something better. And I've been thrown a throw bag, probably, let's say 20 times over my paddling career. And none of them, I've never even grabbed them before. Come on, guys, just don't throw this to me. I'm just gonna swim.
Yeah, like there's not danger below. Like I'm good. And that's where I think people practice. Like I think there's a weakness I mentioned earlier about people just don't swim enough. They don't swim rapids. They're not that comfortable in water. And we, as boaters, need to be swimming rapids in our training and learning how to float in water and be comfortable with it.
Yeah, because I'm out of my boat a lot. It just happens. If you're running bigger water, you come out of your boat sometimes. And so it's one of those things where you have that comfortability to then go find an eddy, understand that like, yeah, man, I can be in the center of big whitewater and I can go find a safe haven. And I've got now hours where I put myself.
Oh, this is sweet. This is actually Aaron's technique. Let's talk about this in a second.
Oh, yeah. Like underneath.
Yeah, actually, I don't think I saw this whole video. So I was throwing 2 throw bags last week when I was like stuck on a log with my boat, which I'll hopefully have a video about later. And I needed both throw bags, one to attach to the boat and one so I could like get swung to shore. But that was me saying, throw me a bag. And so like usually there's that communication, like, or somebody's going to like, the rope is adding danger. And so like I'm adding danger because there's a reason I have to get this person to shore. Not just out of convenience. Like, oh, I don't want them to swim an extra 100 feet. Or I don't want them to have to try that hard. Like, it's more like there's some serious thing and you need a rope. And there's hopefully communication between the people and the person receiving it wants it. Okay, so what they did here, I love this. I've never seen it done this way, is they put ropes under the boat and there's people... The ropes are going like basically under the upside down boat. And then the people on shore are going to push it up and over, which is a great technique. What I haven't seen before is, these people are also on the other side pulling their weight to flip it. That's pretty cool. I've never seen that before.
Definitely too, because they're in deep water, it looks like.
Yeah.
And so like just being deep water on that rock cliff just adds a little bit of difficulty.
Yeah. Man, I really like that technique. All right, that's cool. All right, we have one more video. Oh, I want to watch your video about your York Creek run too. This is just Locksaw. Have you done the Locksaw?
I have not. That was gonna be our backup plan if the Selway flows were too high. Was just we were gonna go hang out at the Locksaw, but it looks like we're gonna be perfect.
What's your Selway date?
Next week, Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean
Launch.
the Selway snowpack is terrible right now.
Yes, like, and
Yeah.
honestly, like I was so happy it landed the way it did.
Yeah, I mean you
With
a month ago
with a June
Yeah.
7th launch, you could be looking at 6.5, 7 feet.
Yep. No, I when I told me that launch, I'm like, oh, you're fine. Especially the big snowpack that we started with, but wow, that's huge. Oh man, that is
Dude, that's
awesome.
a great surf. Is that a spud?
Holy, yeah. Did they do that on purpose?
Yes, I don't know, but that's sweet.
Wait a minute, that is the most amazing thing I've seen in a ducky. So it doesn't. He didn't do that on purpose, but he's owning it like a boss.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Oh, cool. Drone footage.
Dude, that Locksaw Falls is just so meaty.
I love that everybody just hangs out and watch it. Like, it's just, wow, they flipped even before they got there.
Yeah, that's a cool event
Oh,
that goes on.
yeah. I mean, there's this past week. This is footage, I think, from a few years ago or maybe last year, but we're about to see a lot of footage from the past week or two. Damn. Oh, geez, the couch. I searched for the last video. I'll get it going. There's a paddle boat.
Yeah, I don't know if I would want to be R6ing a hit like that.
This is ballsy. They just assumed they were going to be. Oh, yikes.
Oh, man. That's what I don't miss about hardshell kayaking. Like just pulling 90 gallons of water to the shore.
Man, that is the right boat. That's a big, long boat.
That frame looks like it was built here in Albany.
Oh, it's a DRE frame.
Yeah.
Dragging the boat over the bow line seems good. Yeah, I'm not, especially the bow line short. Throwing 60, 70 feet of throwback makes me nervous, but like throwing a short throwback or bow line boat to get in the boat in, I'm not totally against that.
I just think like, yes, it works. There's just better ways. And so
Yeah.
I think like what we're trying to drive into is like the mindset doesn't need to be, I throw a rope first. I throw a rope last.
Like our solution, the solution to a problem is a rope. Like we've watched videos in the past where people say swimmer rope. Like people are taught in rescue classes, if you see a swimmer, throw a rope.
Yep.
And those two things should not correlate. And I think, I mean, you do, rescue for, for your firefighter who does swiftwater rescue. So my thinking is if you take a swiftwater rescue class designed for land-based rescuers like firefighters, your tool is a rope.
Yes.
And you're showing up to people who are not dressed appropriately. Like if they swim, they could die. Whereas when we're saving each other, we have the proper dress and we have boats to go get the people.
Yeah. I think it's not even that like the people that we're dealing with could die. It's just like the tool that we have is a rope. That's the most efficient and effective tool that we have, because blowing up a boat and getting it down a rocky cliffside is going to be time consuming. And so walking down to the shore with a rope is our best option.
Yep. And it's pretty rare. Like I agree. We talked about this earlier. I don't think that many times I've been swimming down the river and people have thrown me a rope to save me. I can't think of it. But the other day I was on a log and somebody threw me a rope and I swung to shore.
Yep.
So I think that's the more common use. Like you're in a stable spot where you're on a rock, you're somewhere, or like Jesse's saying, you're wrapped. Somebody throws you a rope to pull the boat over to pull you to shore. It's not that common that somebody's swimming down, but there are cases when you're setting safety with a throw bag where the first boat comes down. It's super nice if somebody can be there to throw the rope just for safety, but it's pretty rare to actually happen.
Yeah, and most of the times that it like I've been the person with a throw bag, like in a whitewater situation, it's been kayaking. Somebody went in, like we were doing big holes. Somebody went in, didn't get a booth, and they were getting window shaded in there. And it was just luck of the draw of throwing a rope. And it's like already dangerous because you're throwing a blind rope over the top of somebody. But that was the way to get them out of a bad hole.
Yeah, that's scary.
Like
when I'm getting window shaded, I don't want a rope in there.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather just swim, because if you're getting beat down to the hole and there's rope in there, you're going to get tangled in that rope and then it's dangerous.
Yeah. We had one where it was me and my buddy kayaking. He came out and then he just did this forever. And so I decided to throw rope over the top of him and it landed in his hands, luckily. And we were able to get him out.
Yeah, I'd be careful with that. Jesse says he's seeing the same thing. If you're getting worked in a hole, if you're going to throw them a rope, you want to throw not the 70 feet of rope. Like if the rope's 10 feet away, if the hole's 10 feet away, throw 12 feet of rope. Like if somebody's in a hole and they get tangled in the rope, that's bad.
Yeah.
Like you're in a hole, you're getting beat down, and then there's a rope in there that you don't expect or want. You're now in a hole with a rope that's just going to wrap around you, and that's pretty dangerous. So I would be really careful throwing ropes to people in holes. If they're kayaking, if they're in their boat, if I'm in my boat getting beat down, I'll just eventually swim. Like I'd much rather just swim than have a rope to pull me out. It depends on the hole. Like some holes you can't, like if you can't swim because it's like class 5 below you, I see that. Or if it's like boxed out. Like there's some examples where I might want a rope, but I'd be really personally careful throwing a rope to somebody getting worked in a hole. Okay,
God, you want to get those square tops. How pretty are those?
I mean, they're pretty, but are they really the best oars?
I like a good combination. They row really nice.
So we haven't mentioned yet that you have a YouTube channel, Private Whitewater.
Yep.
Everybody should go subscribe. You can just stop watching this and type in to the search bar Private Whitewater and just go like watch all of Cody's videos. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. And this is a video Cody posted from York Creek Rapid, one of the best rapids on the Illinois.
It's awesome. I love the triple move of it.
Yeah.
The entrance is super fun. The false York Creek, the rapid right before this was it was actually pretty tricky at this flow because it was not low enough to get stuck, but the ending.
That one's messy. I never talked about it.
It was really messy at that flow.
Yep. Yeah. Like you have to try to get really far right, but it's shallow, so you can't.
Yep.
And
you're just going towards three groupings of rock sideways.
Yeah. Yeah. That one's messy. And so I was watching this earlier, and there's a bunch of stuff I saw that I just like gear wise was thinking about beyond just the boating. First of all, that ship is so sweet. So like I am super jazzed on these like one-oar ships.
Right.
I feel like we should be doing them all the time. Partially because you're stable that way. Like it's a very stable way to sit.
You're stable. And my biggest thing is like, if you're practicing shipping is like, yeah, probably I could have kept both oars out and not hit that rock, but you don't know like until you make that drop in there. And so just ship it. If you don't need it, you can run any of these boats with one oar. And so like making that drop, just ship it. Definitely. If you know you're going to come close to a rock, and then over time, you'll get good at figuring out, like, did I need to or not?
And your right oar now is ready to dip in the eddy if you want to.
Yep.
Like you
and
can put
I
that
need
blade
it
in that
because
eddy.
you come right towards that rock wall. So I need both oars to slow myself down.
Like right there. That was so beautiful. Like you come through, ship, drop it in that slow water. That's how it's done. Okay, so I have questions about gear, some gear stuff. First of all, that throw bag is killing me.
I know, because it's so awesome.
No, it's so big, and to see how it just hangs.
Like it's a fisheye. It looks a lot bigger than it does.
No,
that
don't
thing
blame
is-
the GoPro on
dude,
that.
that thing is awesome.
It's just
Like,
it's like you have a soccer ball on the back of you're carrying instead of like a nice like a belt.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say that we did an IRF throw bag assessment,
Yep.
and only one throw bag was successful, and it was that throw bag.
Do we all do it?
Yeah, we did.
And you're the only one to pass?
Yep.
All right. Okay. That's solid. That's solid proof right there. And okay, let's go back. So let's talk about throwback square tops. Are you really a fan?
I am. My favorite set of oars are smokers.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Like wood, straight up wood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are my favorite. But I set up this boat for my wife to also row. And so the smokers are heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're like, if you don't paddle all the time, you can't just sit down and go do a 4-day trip with smokers. Like your arms will fall off. And so the square tops are that combination of the feel of the smoker wood, but being lighter.
But don't they flex a lot?
They don't.
Unlike,
I'm not running an 18-foot bag boat. So like these might not work on the 18-foot bag boat, but like I run 150 quart cooler, a normal multi-day setup, and I'm a strong paddler, and I feel very confident with these oars.
Okay. And then helmet wise, I had that same helmet. I've worn that helmet. Most of my days wearing a helmet of my life are probably with that helmet. I was talking to somebody in this trip I just did who said, because it's carbon fiber, that somebody hit their head once and then the carbon splinters went into their head.
Like I've also heard like that the bill on it has like, hit a rock and, blew the helmet up, but like, I don't know.
I like the bill.
Yeah.
I think it protects me from like stuff hitting my face potentially. Like I don't mind the bill, but it made me rethink it a little bit. I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, I love the helmet. It's comfortable. It looks cool. It's
like I'm not gonna change, just for something like that. It's like, yeah, it probably did happen. But I will take that minuscule risk.
Okay. And then the spare oar, why do you have a different spare oar?
Because I don't want to hang a $500 oar as a spare.
Okay.
Like,
yep.
So that's just
those oars are $500.
Yeah.
For one.
Yes.
Wow.
And you can't change out tips if you break them.
Yep.
So it's like, I mean, but also like an MXG, the ones that you run with a Dynalite blade, that's $500 also.
Is it really?
Probably. Like I bet those shafts probably about $300 and the tips are about $200.
When I get the bill for my Sawyer stuff, I don't like to look at it. I need it. So I'm like, hey, I'm not going to look at it.
Yeah.
It's just,
I bet those square tops in a comparable MXG with a Dynalite, like a nice Dynalite blade, I bet they're within $20.
Wow. The advantage of the MXG is though, if you break it, you broke half.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So
like we had a gearboat break a 10-foot oar on this last Illinois trip I did. I'm like, it's just half. Luckily, it's the shaft. Yeah. It's not the blade too. So we can reuse the blade. But it's still expensive.
They're balanced. I really, really like. They feel good in your hands.
They look cool.
Yeah, and I really like the yellow. So when they come out of my boat, I can follow them in the water.
There's yellow.
Well, yeah, they're like that wood grain. So instead of the black square tops.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So this again, like great, like awesome shipping here. You like just kind of moving your oars back and forth. It's stable position.
And like I will say, like people watching, I overship. I know that I do that, but I do that because I'm new at it. And so it's like one of those things where it's like I've been trying to consciously ship as much as humanly possible. And so that's why like sometimes you'd be like, yeah, that guy didn't probably need to ship in this situation. And it's just because I've been consciously trying to do it as much as possible. And now it's become habit.
I don't think you're over shipping. And I think once it becomes habit, like So right here, if there's a big hole in the left, I'm gonna shift so that my blade doesn't go through the hole and it get ripped out of my hand. So like I want my blade forward sometimes, or I'm like gonna go through something, just so that like I'm clearing my blade of something.
Yeah.
It almost feels like that's what you were doing right here.
Yeah, and like
Like
a little bit before
there.
yeah, right there is like, oh man, like I'm doing a drop, and now I've just done it so much that like I can't stop.
Yeah, I think it's amazing habit. Like I'm all about that.
And then, man, this rap, like, I mean, obviously this whole river is awesome, but this rapid in particular, it's really long. It's like 3 distinct different moves.
My beta for it, I'll tell my beta in a second. The one thing I noticed too is I'm watching here. You're like, hold on, let's go through it. So through here, you're focused. Like this is a hard part of the rapid. Like you're looking at the rapid, looking where to go. Like this is a big part of the move. You're focused on your boating. I got to get through here. You're through here. And this next bit, there's like a little bit of a break before the last part. You look back like 4 times.
Like yeah, because then yep. And then because the guy is going through that last drop right now, it's like now he's making that tough move.
Yep.
Like
so if he swam, you would want to know that. That's the information you would want to know.
Yep. And I don't know, but like the guy that was behind me, it was his first time on the Illinois. And yeah, like the beta was like, dude, the river turns 3 times. Because like you think you're like, oh, like here's the drop that they were talking about. Oh, this is the drop that they were talking about. And it's like, yeah, it moves 3 times and stay as far right at the bottom.
Yeah.
Like catch that eddy, make your life really easy.
My beta, so I'm up here, if I'm giving somebody beta, I'm like, hey, we're going to go through a shallow entrance. You're going to want to drop some speed. And there's 2 distinct drops after this. You want to be right on both of them. It's like through here. Like
I haven't ran it enough that I totally forgot. I was like, man, the center drop, I can't remember exactly where we go. But I was like, and like most of the time, the whole trip, I was like, hey, I'm going to do a line and then just make sure you watch for my hand signals. And I'll tell you like if it was a good line or if I totally messed it up.
So I feel like in here, you're going to come through. You just have to drop speed.
Yeah.
Like you're going to come through the first little entrance. And you don't want to hit that rock and bounce off of it. You want to leave this in control. And then were you calling this next drop the center drop?
Yeah.
You're calling that the first drop. And this,
yep.
Yeah. And so I say go through the entrance, drop speed, and then just go right through the first drop and right through the second drop.
And like the video doesn't do this drop justice of how gorgeous it is.
Yeah.
Like
this is the thing. Okay, here's the thing too, in terms of beauty. I mean, in terms of like natural beauty or how cool the rapid is.
Both. Like the rocks, and then I just love that like you have a significant amount of water coming in from the right side.
Yep.
It's like making these like weird laterals. Like that's actually a pretty tricky hole on the left that like could really like do some damage to a boat. And like this is kind of like one of the rapids nobody talks about.
Yep.
Like
it's not one of the famous ones for sure. I mean, I've seen the most flips at Clear Creek.
I hate Clear Creek with a passion.
Like it's one that is hard to figure out. Like you have to run it a lot to finally be like, okay. And it changes so much. It flows. Like, do you make the move of before the rock at the bottom, after the rock at the bottom? Like, it's hard to know what to do.
I was stoked. The guy behind me, he was going to miss the move at Clear Creek, and he just called an audible, and then he ended up sneaking far right. And I was like really stoked on him of just like, he just made a really good read at the last minute. And instead of trying to hold on to a line that he had planned and probably get wedged on rocks, he just made a good move.
But going back to the beauty of this place, like I'm interested to see what you think of the Selway, but I'm gonna tell you, there's nowhere in the Selway this beautiful right here.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward towards the biting bugs.
Yeah, I mean the bugs are an issue. Aaron would just say cover her up, you'll be fine. Yeah. But like it's like the Illinois and a lot of the rivers I love, like the Rogue, for example, like this is really rocky on the river and just like really cool geology that brings a lot to it. And then there's forest up above.
Yeah. Where
the Selway it's a lot of forest. There's not that much in terms of rocky geology.
I was stoked. We saw a bear on this Illinois trip.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I had heard that nobody had really seen any bears since the fire.
I haven't seen a bear there in a long time. Our last trip saw a bear. I just didn't see it. Our last trip saw a mountain lion too.
Oh,
the same boat that saw a bear saw a mountain lion, which is incredibly rare to see.
We actually had one come into our camp.
A mountain lion?
No, a bear.
A bear. But look at that scenery, like that. Yeah. Those, like the combination of the canyon and the rocks, like that's. It doesn't. I mean, in my opinion, that's doesn't get better than that. That's just so stunning. All right, I got a couple comments, and we'll shut this one down. Oh, we already got that one. Captain Ron. Wow, are yours the VLAM ones?
I think the VLAM are different tips. They're gorgeous tips.
Googling them right now. VLAM square top oars. Here's my issue with these.
I get it.
Dude, I first of all, I'm realizing that maybe I'm just crazy.
Yeah, and so they make those VLAMs, like they make them in regular like whitewater tips and then the shoal cuts.
I'm trying to find the Sawyer things. VLAM. I feel like these oars were made for people to fish. They're made for anglers. And this is you can tell me I'm wrong. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. I want to hear it. It is a beautiful oar. The weight of a square top is incredibly light, but they're strong. And so what I don't like, I've got those MXSs that I also run. And I really like those. Those are like, so I can go beat those things up. And I can break tips, and I don't really have to be that worried about them. That's what I put the pins on. But I hate the connection between the. You don't like that it like gives a little bit.
Yes,
I don't even notice it. It's something I don't even think about or notice.
I don't notice it either unless I'm carrying them, and then I'm like,
yeah,
it just like it feels chintzy, even though I know it's not. Well, I've never had a problem with them, and I do know that they like you can like drill a hole and put a screw through.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore. I mean, here's what happens. You screw the blade in, and when they're new, they're solid. And over time, they give a little bit. So you tighten them up every so often. And after like 10 or 15 years, the hole gets too big if you use them a lot. And then you have to send it back to Sawyer, and you get what's called a bell end upgrade. And they like redo the bell end a little bit. I've only done that to I own like 80, 90 oars. I've only done that like 6 times.
Yeah.
So it's not something that happens a lot, but if you keep tightening them, at some point the carbon's going to give a little bit and it won't fit.
Yeah. Have you ever actually rode square tops?
Yeah.
I love them.
They're so light to me. They're like too light. Like they're just like feathers. But the ones that I used flexed. And so when I pull, I don't like it when an oar flexes.
Yeah. And I totally get that. And like, maybe if you're running, a boat that has what do you think your bag boats have? 3,000 pounds worth of gear on it?
Maybe.
Like, if you're running something like that, like, yeah, man, like I want your oversized MXGs, and like I want as stiff of an oar as humanly possible. But most of the boats I'm running are maybe have 1,000 pounds in it, maybe 1,200. And so it's a different oar, and I only run 9.5 foot oars. And so like, I don't have as much.
Oar out there.
Yeah.
But even for 9.5 foot oars, I want stiff.
I like stiff too. And the MXSs on 9.5 feet feel just fine.
The MXSs on 9.5 feet. Yeah. So, but here's the other thing. I think people like the square tops because they look cool. They look cool. I will admit that they look way cooler. They have a cool name. They have like the square top. It's people see you with them. They're like, oh, that guy has square tops. He's a baller. I think there's a status symbol I think that people enjoy about them. I get that they're lighter, but you were just saying you like smokers.
Yeah.
Like MXGs are half the weight of a smoker.
Dude, Trust me, totally get it. But
There's
man,
no advantage of there's
but
no
like,
advantage of a smoker like
oh,
over
man, but
MXG.
smokers, like you could just go sit at camp and bang that against a rock for 9 hours and still put it back on your boat and use it. Like it's like that's what I love about smokers is like they're bulletproof.
We've broken a lot of smokers.
Like
I've as a person who used to own a lot of smokers, and I still do own some. We break smokers.
like
They break 100%. You can beat them up. You can just like drag them over rocks.
Right.
But I also with Dynalite blades, like the super beefy Dynalites, I'm not worried about breaking those.
yeah, like
I love
my buddy just got the like XD version of the Dynalite blades.
That's what we use.
They're nice.
Like it'd be interesting to take XD blades and wood blades and just do like 10,000 hits on a rock in a machine, just bam, 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 and see which one breaks first. And I was a wood ore guy forever.
Yep.
Like I had the old Clavey ores. I ran wood ores my whole career, most of my career, and then we slowly got composite ores, and I'm just like, oh, these are just as stiff, and they weigh less, and you don't have to replace the whole thing when you break one.
And that's a huge thing. And that's the only downside I feel like of smokers or of square tops. Is like that's an expensive blade to break a tip.
Yeah, I mean, I was just checking prices. So you're right. It's about $500 for either give or take a little bit.
Yep.
It's either $500 for a MXS with a Dynalite blade or a square top.
But I also like the Sawyer wood tips.
The wood, what's the wood tip?
It's the smoker tips.
Smoker
blades. It's probably in the blades. Yeah. The Whitewater Pro Ore Blade smoker.
This one right here.
Yeah.
We've had these.
I really like those.
I have some old ones I can sell you.
Like,
I'm sitting on actually like 6 or 7 of these from back in the day. The Dynalites are better.
oh, yeah, probably. But like, I don't know. There's something, and I don't know if it's nostalgia of just like that's what I guided in is wood blades.
Yeah.
Or I just feel like, and like maybe it's because I used to run the cheaper Dynalite blades.
Mm-hmm.
But
you definitely don't want the cheaper Dynalite blades.
I definitely like. I feel like I've got to baby those around rocks a lot more.
I'm definitely. You can't. Well, even now it says Dynalite Pro, Dynalite Extra Duty. You can't. I don't even see Dynalite here. That's not.
Like,
wow, they maybe only make these now. So the old Dynalites where the tip was only around the end.
yeah.
You can't run those. It's just
they,
not.
They just get beat up.
Yeah, and they break.
They delaminate.
Yeah, I think like the Extra Duty, it weighs a little more, costs more, but this is it's really hard to break these.
Oh.
Like you have to. I mean, we hammer these things, and I've never had a problem with them.
But man, Sawyer just being awesome at upgrading their stuff, realizing that stuff isn't strong enough, and
that's interesting. I didn't realize they don't sell the old Dynalites anymore.
I bet you can still get them, but man,
they probably know it's like might as well go with these Dynalite Pro. Yeah, I've never seen that logo before, Dynalite Pro on a blade either. That must be something new. It's carbon fiber laid over laminated Douglas fir core, so they're still wood.
Yeah.
All right, let's we have one more comment. I'll close up. I got to think about this some more. I don't think I mean, we were talking, this goes back to the Fowler's Rock thing. Like, the person next to you is not definitely going to die. Like, the two swimmers are definitely not going to die. Like, you're not saving a life. You're pulling swimmers in. But I'm such a freak about downstream containment.
I know. I totally get that.
Like,
but
if you spend 10, 20 seconds getting that person next to you, that's 10 or 20 seconds. They're further ahead of you, and you can't contain them.
I know, but I feel like it's like the one in the hand versus two in the bush of like, I got somebody right there that I can go improve their survival chances. Cause like their survival chances in the water are worse than in the boat. And so it's like,
I'm going to say you have somebody ahead of you. Like, let me try to phrase this. If you have two people ahead of you, the closer one is like a 99% chance of surviving. The one that's way up there, I'm saying like 70.
yeah, but
If they start getting cold and they can't swim, they're just gone.
No, I get it, but what happens what, and like I think that's what's hard about like all these is like they're the what ifs. And like you can what if these to death, but it's like what if you go down going for the one that really took a swim, never got to him, and then the other two died. Also.
But the two will come to you.
Like
the thing is like the people will come to you. Like you just get ahead of them and keep an eye on them.
I will always I will take the easy layup in front of me. And then like I was just like
was that last one an easy layup?
The
video we saw? Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll take that one. I'll get that person in the boat, and then I'm just gonna start checking. I've got 3 people in the water, and if I can get 2 in the water, like 2 in the boat, and move on, like I can.
No, I've thought about this more. I'm like, totally the opposite thing. I'm like this is also the problem with like 1, 2, 3, like even 3 boat trips. Like you have a responsibility to get the furthest down swimmer. Like that person is in risk of life.
Yeah.
Because if they can't swim to shore and they start getting cold, who's going to save them? Yeah. And so the person who's swimming, if you go by and you can just pull them in, it's a layup. I see a layup, pull them in, cool. But as soon as you detour and you're taking all this time pulling them in, hey, sit down here, we got to paddle. That person's getting further ahead. That's why I think having like boat 3 and boat 4 back there, like their job is to get that person. But in my opinion, your job is to go be downstream containment. That person that's ahead of you is a risk. Now, if we're talking about the Rogue and the water's warm and there's probably 5 boats right around the corner. Yeah, but like cold water, high water, people not around, that downstream person is high risk.
Yeah, like I would agree with you if we had 2 boats that swam, right? And I'm going to focus on the swimmers in the bottom boat versus like a boat behind me, right? Because like if I'm second boat, my top priority is the people in that front boat.
Yep. And
so in that situation, those 2 swimmers that we're going to pass up, they were in that front boat. They are our responsibility. And so I'm like, I got to take care of them too. But
your responsibility is the one who's most at risk. The one that's ahead is the highest risk. This is where, like, do you choose to do you go after the highest risk or lowest probability? How's that go again?
So in mass casualty incidents, we'll always take the people that have the best survival.
But these 2 people are probably, I mean, of course, that's different. The person who's like you're passing is probably going to survive. Like they're not
definitely going to survive if you just pull them in your boat.
But they're not. There's not a threat to life for that person.
Like,
because you're once you pass them, you are downstream containment for them.
Yeah.
They're not going to go on this like mile long swim because you're downstream of them. You've passed them. You've provided containment for them. That person, once you pass them, they've got like their survival rate goes way up just by being past them. But that person, as soon as somebody's beyond you, their survival rate's way down. So you're like, just by getting ahead of them, they're in better shape, whether you pull them in or not.
Yeah. Their survival rate is probably higher if you pull them in the boat too.
Yeah, but the person who's downstream survival rate went down by more.
Totally get it. Like, right? Like it is, you are weighing the risks on 2 different things.
I can easily weigh this risk in that situation. But my head is like, that person downstream is in trouble.
They totally would agree.
And so I need to focus on that person, especially when the person upstream had a boat they could swim to. The person downstream had nothing to swim to. And so I'm super focused on that person. That's the calculation I'm doing. The other thing I thought was like, that's why your lead boat doesn't have 2 people in it.
Yeah. Like
the lead,
okay. So speaking of on that, when you were on the Illinois, you guys had a cat boat with you.
Mhm.
Why is it because they were new? But why weren't they lead boating like down Greenwall?
Because two reasons. One, I know the river better, and they had two people in the boat.
Okay.
So I had no guests in my boat. So same thing. Like I didn't have his catcher's mitt. So if I flipped, I had to self-rescue. But where I wanted the cat number 2 because the cat was the best boat to catch me.
Yeah.
So if I flipped, I have a cat boat with me with 2 people in it. That's an amazing rescue boat.
Yep.
Right. But if they flipped, that's 3 swimmers. I could probably hopefully kind of manage by being downstream. But that was the boat least likely to flip. So when we went 1 and 2, me and a gearboat, cat boat behind me, that was our most exposed moment. But the cat boat being a cat boat, having 2 was the lowest risk of flipping. The other option would have been to run gearboat. But the other gearboat, it was their first rundown. And so the odds of them making a mistake were higher. And I didn't feel like that was providing much safety for me.
Yeah.
Like if I flipped and the second boat down was my safety and they're in a gearboat and they don't know the run and they have to chase me down, that puts me at risk. So I wanted the cat boat right behind me as the lead boat. That's your question.
Yep, it does.
So like I'm fanatical about downstream safety, maybe to a fault. I don't know, but like I do not like swimmers getting ahead of me. Like I'm always thinking, how do I keep swimmers from getting ahead of me?
Yeah, totally agree.
Had a kayaker swimmer holding his boat, and we had the other in his boat. I want to pull away. Wait, important swimmers listen to the guide getting them. Had a kayaker swimmer holding his boat, and we had the other end of the boat. I wanted to pull away from surging eddies. I don't understand. Kayaker made push them into a funky eddy and let go, swam and missed the eddy and forced my hand. Funky. So I don't quite understand. I mean, the kayaker might have thought they knew more than you. I don't know. Like there's like a certain way I think there's a way you can tell people like, dude, let go of your boat. We're pulling you in. Versus like, if you are animated, like if you're like hyper or too excited, people can tell if you're maybe like, so it depends on how you present it. Maybe, I don't know. But I think that, I mean, if I don't know if the kayaker was with you, it was a different kayaker, but that kayaker may not have wanted help and may not have wanted you to pull him in. I don't know. You needed to pull into current or both. I still don't understand. You understand this?
I'm guessing just like that. The person in the boat, the person in the water wasn't listening to the person in the boat.
Yeah.
Right.
Which it's their choice, in my opinion. Like it's their, I mean, if you're providing help, if they're just not listening to you, they're making a bad choice, I think. But I definitely want to help. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one pushing funky Yeti. Is this on the South Fork, Sean? The problem right now at the South Fork is it being at like 6,000 and up. There's just so many difficult situations. And, with that South Fork trip we saw a video of, the best solution is a safety kayaker right there. Like that oar boat in the front was like a lead boat. There was a safety boat. And having the second person in the lead boat, it could put 2 swimmers in the water. But also having the second person is nice to pull people in. So it is a trade-off.
As a person that has ran with, asking you, that has ran with a lot of like safety kayakers, what would you rather have, a safety kayak or a safety cat?
It depends.
Like,
a safety kayaker, like in that Fowler's Rock situation, I need a safety kayaker. I need
is it just because they can haul ass, like kayaks can just travel so much faster?
Yeah, and and I want downstream containment. And so like a cat boat could maybe catch up with that. A cat boat could catch up with that swimmer for sure. A cat boater is nice because they can pull in multiple swimmers. So a safety cat's great because they can pull multiple people at once. A safety kayak is good because it means nobody gets past us. That's safety kayaker. That's safety kayaker. When we teach people safety kayak, you pass everybody unless they're dying. You okay? Cool. Are oh, you're unhappy? I don't mind. Are you dying? Great. I'm gonna keep going. Like you keep passing people until you get to the very front, and you get that person to shore. You get them to shore, like, and then you wait for the next person to come down, get them to shore. And that could just mean like, hey, swim here, swim here, swim here. Don't touch me. Follow me, follow me. Grab that rock. Okay, stay there. Next person. Follow me, follow me, follow me. Oh, you're tired? Grab that back of my boat. Pull them to shore. Drop them off. Or pull them to a raft. But as a safety kayaker and safety catboater, your job is to be ahead of everything. Like you don't get swimmer number 2. You're like, hey, enjoy your swim. You're not dying, are you? Great. You're doing a broken arm. Cool. We're going to go after the next person. The safety kayaker got rolled. So the door at 20. Okay. It's big. The safety kayaker got rolled and his skirt popped. That sucks. Yeah. I mean, safety kayakers, also need to not roll and have their skirt pop.
Yeah. They need to be stout, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like just because you're kayaking doesn't mean you're a safety kayaker. And I've been on trips before where I'm kayaking and they want me to go first. And I'm like, I'm not that good. Like, guys, I don't want to go first. I want safety too. And so just because you're kayaking doesn't mean you have to go first and provide that downstream safety. We had a great rescue on a flip yesterday at SOB on the Green Mountain Split Canyon. Nimble Star Cat and flew to rescue one. Huh. This is interesting too. Like, is this second swimmer throw a line from a raft? Or that's, yeah. Pursuit business, small cat. God, I'd love to hear more, Jim. But cool, that video. Well, should we shut this one down?
Yeah.
Cody, thank you for being here. Thank you for covering Aaron in his absence, other than you two getting along really well and disagreeing with me. But I'll take it. Oh, cool, from shore. Sweet. What do you want to promote today? What thing are you doing right now that you're super stoked on?
Oh man, nothing. Well, Private Whitewater is now officially a business. So I'm a small business owner in the state of Oregon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it Private Whitewater LLC or is it
sole proprietorship?
Okay.
Yeah.
But you have a business license.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'll be on the Sellway. I'll be throwing up some videos on that. Just have appreciated everyone that has put up with my videos on Private Whitewater. And then I'm just going to start trying to get some gear reviews out over this summer.
Big up your channel. So like we're closing up. So there's no point in sticking around other than hear us just mumble about things. But if you are still on, go to Private Whitewater. See how I'm subscribed. Hit that subscribe button over there. He's at 257. And you told me once you hit to 1,000, something's going to happen.
Well, I might have pulled the plug a little early on that. Okay. So at 1,000, I was going to buy a cat boat, but I actually sold Nancy Kerrigan, my 13-foot tributary, and I'm buying Sotar cat tubes.
Nice.
And I'm going to officially be a cat boater.
Nice. Which tubes?
12.6s.
Brand new or used?
Brand new.
What color?
I'm going to go gray. And then the center tube delete like John has.
What's the center tube delete?
So
yeah. Don't have that little center thing.
Yep. So it's
just like down the middle.
So it's the actual dual chambers.
Yeah.
So so only one chamber per cat tube, and it saves like 15 pounds.
Oh yeah, there's not even a baffle in the cat tube. I have a couple of cats like that. I did that. I've never had a problem. Sometimes I worry though.
Definitely me too. Like I was like, but it solved the problem of deciding, do I do an 11-foot boat that's super light?
Yep.
Or a 12.6 that I can kind of do both. And so
not having the baffle in the middle, it does save weight. And it's also one less valve you have to pump up every time. Like you have to go to each end of the boat. And then when you get to camp, you just put the end of your cat to shore and
Yep.
it's easy to top off. You don't have to go out in the water to top off the boat. So I think that's pretty smart.
Yep. So I'm excited. Who knows though? It is summertime for Sotar. So, I have landed on class 5.
Nice.
Like I did look at Rogue River Gearworks. I really like their frame. I do like Dusty at Dusty's River Logistics. He's the one that I've used on all my frames so far. But I really like the geometry change up that you can do on those class 5s.
What do you mean geometry change up?
The oar towers move like 3 or 4 inches.
Oh yeah.
I really like that.
And they do fold in really nice for stacking cats.
Yeah.
They fold in pretty easy for stacking cats.
And I was looking like for the distance between the like below the seat, it's like only like 3 or 4 inches.
Okay.
So it's like I think like you're solving that kind of Wind River frame. Obviously, I would have bought a Mad Catter.
Yeah.
But
so you'll have it in time for wind season. Like you're thinking it's gonna take a few months to get the frame, a few months to get the cat.
Yep.
But by the time the wind is in next year,
yep,
you'll have a capo for the wind.
This is the time of year that I roll that 13-foot boat, and I'm in that 16-foot boat.
Yeah.
So
does John have the 12.6?
He does.
Yeah. I think that 12.6 is the most versatile. I love the 11s. They're sporty, they're fun, but the 12.6 is the most versatile cat boat there is.
Yes. And like they're a little bit bigger tubes now than the original design.
Oh, really?
And yeah, they're 12.5 or 22.5-inch tubes instead of 21s. And
okay, so we need to get back to your channel.
Yep.
Please subscribe. We need to get you to 1,000 subscribers.
yes.
And so what we need to have something that happens when you get to 1,000 subscribers. Like you were gonna buy a cat boat for yourself, but now you just did that.
Now I'm just impatient.
Yeah. So we'll have to come up with something to like urge people to get you there so that we can get that 1,000 subscribers. So please stop what you're doing. Hit that search button. See, there's a search button right there. You can just go to YouTube right now and just type private whitewater. It's pretty easy. Hit enter. And you just click there. The subscribe button will be right there. You can watch all these awesome videos from
Illinois.
Illinois.
The best multi-day raft trip in the United States.
I mean, in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I can't speak on that one. But
I'll tell you one quick thing. Nowhere else in the world has the great raft trips we have. And it's because of the Wilderness Act and the Wild and Scenic Rivers Act.
Yeah.
The rest of the world did not protect these places. We did. And so we have most of the best rafting trips in the world here in the United States. We're very lucky. This is that move, dude. That right above that rock.
Yeah.
That's a tough move.
Yeah.
It's a tough move. Okay, we got to shut this down. Don't forget to like and subscribe, do all the things, and we'll see you all in another episode. I can find the shutdown thing. There we go.